Hi there! Welcome to a brand new season, season 14. I have been gone for a while, just looking at what I should do with this podcast from now on. And I've decided that I'm going to show you and explain to you other kinds of things, mostly hands-on if possible. Today you're going to be learning how to prepare your own Ethernet cables. So this is your first Ethernet cable 101. You're going to need a few tools, but before we get to that, my name is Steve. This is TQA Weekly. And some of the tools you might need are going to be as follows. You're going to need Ethernet cable, first of all. So obviously that. You're also going to need a wire stripper of sorts, a wire cutter of sorts, an RJ45 crimper. The standard I use is actually on the tool itself, so you don't have to Google it online, even though that standard will be on the show notes itself. You may want to have these covers, which make it safer in some instances. You got two different types of connectors. You have the two-piece and you have the pass-through model of the RJ45 connector. I can use both, but I prefer the two-piece just for the sake of preference. So it usually comes with a whole bunch of little pieces inside of the bag. You very definitely need a tester, because if you don't do it right, you're not going to know what's going on unless you can test it. And we're going to make this super simple, okay? So what we're going to start off with is how to get that tip exposed. As you can see, I've already done it on this cable. I have quite a few of these examples in front of me so that we can go through each of these steps very quickly. So on this tool, you're going to press back just a little so that you can get into the first hole. You're going to want to work with as much cable as you can get reliable with, so whatever you're comfortable with. Once you have a certain amount there and that you're comfortable with it, you're going to just twist it a few times. You will feel that the outer jacket has come off. You do not want to damage any of the cables underneath, so don't do it too much. And then you will pull. Inside here you have 4 braided cables. So you have blue, orange, brown, and green. You got little hairs here. These little hairs can be cut off. They're not super important. If there is aluminum, you might want to actually get the type of connector that also has the grounding. The tool that I use also has a grounding test on it. But what ends up happening is now you have those 4 pairs. These 4 pairs are usually pretty close together, except that in the standards, as you can see, the orange and the blue, or the green and the blue, tend to be overlapping each other. That does make it harder a little bit. But you would use the little piece that you got off to start separating out each of these sections so that you can get like these pairs separated. Usually they're put together to avoid some sort of issues with magnetic resonance or electromagnetic resonance. Although unless it's completely shielded, not going to do very much. But it is a digital signal, so it's not as affected as an analog signal. Once you got all these braided parts together, the nice part is that you don't really need to straighten out crazy. You just start shoving them into the holes in order as they are. I work from 8 to 1, so from left to right. That's just the way I prefer it, but you can go in the other direction. I usually leave enough slack so that I can put it onto an angle. Don't bend it too much. And once you get all of these cables in and you push them far enough, and remember that you want to add these things before you start doing that, you get something that looks like this. Okay? So the entire shield part here is already there. Okay? So that part of the connector. And these cables are just sticking out the end. All you want to do at this point is take your little cutter and cut them off. They will end up everywhere. Okay? That part is fine. Then you're going to take your second step of the connector and you're going to push it in. You want to push it in as far as you can. Okay? In my case, this cable is really small, so I'm going to end up putting part of the outer jacket in. You're going to take this tool, which will be linked to in the show notes and down below, and you're going to put it into this part. And all you're going to have to do is push in and lock it, okay? And everything will lock together. And me, I tend to just push in to make sure that I did it properly. Now that this connector is actually done, let's go and see if this one actually works. So to make sure it works, what you do is you separate out your tester, you put it on one side, you put the other part on the other side, which is actually powered by this, and then we just turn it on. And if they work, like this one does, don't know if you can see it because I'm using green screen and it's a green light, but this one actually does work. So it's probably the smallest cable I've ever made. Once your cable is done and it does test well, you are now able to use it. I have a longer cable, same thing. I just plug it in, plug in the test. So this is the tester, this is the thing that gives me the results. You can't see it, but I know that it's actually working. So it actually works. You have done it correctly. What to do if it doesn't work? Well, if it doesn't work and you're fairly certain that one side is correct, you take your cutter, you cut off that side, and you start again. That's it. Most of these connectors are one use, so there's no point trying to save them. The blue part, you can just pull on them very gently and it will come off. So those parts won't be lost, but the actual connector themselves are just single use. So once that is done, you are fine. I hope you learned how to do this. I know it's fairly simple looking. It does require practice though. If you like this episode, like it, dislike it. If you didn't, share with those you think could benefit from this. And don't forget to subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions for topics, email me at ask@tqaweekly.com or go to my website, tqaweekly.com, where you can see the show notes on this episode, past others, find other ways to subscribe, and of course, use the contact form to email me directly. And if you want to see me play video games, again, that is at twitch.tv/ZAccess1981. I still stream every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern. And all these tools are going to be linked down below, available for purchase on Amazon. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.